Okay, so I started off by saying the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right, this is Sirach, chapter 29, and verse 16. A sinner will overthrow the good estate of his surety, and he that is of unthankful mind will leave him in danger that delivered him. Suretyship hath undone many of good estate, and shake them as a wave of the sea. Mighty men hath it driven from their houses, so that they wandered among strange nations. All right? Because we've been in those other nations, man. You know? So it says, or we are in strange nations, you know? But verse 19 is the point. It says, a wicked man transgressing the commandments of Yahweh shall fall into suretyship, and he that undertaketh and followeth other men's business for gain shall fall into suits. All right? So you got to take this truth seriously. You see? Continuing on, it says, verse 20, help thy neighbor according to thy power, and beware that thou thyself fall not into the same. All right? So you got to be cautious, man. Circumspect, like the brothers always say, you know? Circum, meaning a circle. Spec, meaning your eyes, you know, vision. Circumspect, circle 360. Spec, you have to be scopeo, all right, is the word in Greek, which means to scope out, you know? You have to scope everything out, man, but you also have to have a balance. You see? It says, verse 21, the chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame. All right, those are the principal things for life. All right? But what did Yahweh Shai say? All right? Men shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. You see? Which is what? The scriptures. All right? This is your bread of life, man. All right? It's in our prayer, you know? Give us today our daily bread. That's this right here, man. That's the hearing of the word. That's a doing of the word, you know? Men shall not live by bread alone. And Yahweh Shai said to be cautious of the bread of the Pharisees, talking about their doctrine, you know? So it says, better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate far in another man's house. All right? So whenever I read, you know, I made a video, you know, and Esau Edom be jacking things up, man. You know, you can't even make videos and post them up anymore without it being a error or whatever, you know. But I made a video about reincarnation. You know, I made 2 videos, and one of them was going into Luke 16, you know. And since I couldn't post it, I'm actually going to go into it. Luke, there's Mark, Luke 25, Luke 16, here it is. Luke 16 and verse 19. All right, and if you read Luke 16, it starts off with a parable. All right, and then Yahweh Shai puts another parable in verse 16, I believe, or 19, And it's talking about Lazarus. All right? Lazarus, and it's talking about Esau Edom being the rich man. You see? Because he has dominion over the earth. It's not talking about a literal place called hell, all right, and a literal place called heaven, after you die. You know, because after you die, you go rest. You don't go party in heaven, all right. After you die, you go rest in heaven. The only party that's gonna happen in heaven is when we're being delivered, when we're being saved, all right. We're gonna rejoice. You know, we're gonna laugh, and as we're laughing, this place is gonna be burnt down in the, it's gonna be in torments. And then after that, Esau Edom is gonna go into slavery for a period of 1,000 years. You know, after the 1,000-year period is over, Esau Edom is gonna be done away with. You see? So it says, Luke 16:19, there was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day. All right, and that's talking about the pride of Esau Edom. You know, what was that? Habakkuk chapter 2. In verse 2, and Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. And who is that he? Is talking about the Israelite man, all right, the Israelite woman, all right, that whenever they read this book, whenever they receive this truth, whenever they receive this spirit, they're going to run with that truth. Verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. All right? So it seems like it's taken a long time because it's been, almost or about 2,000 years, close to 2,000 years, It seems like it's taking a long time, but though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. All right? It will not tarry. It says, behold, verse 4, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. All right? So even though we're not living presumptuously, all right, even though we're not living our best lives, yet our hope is full of immortality, like it says in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7, which let me get that, just to prove a point. It's actually over here. Should be here. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. Wisdom of Solomon, actually I think it was 3, Salakia. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, and verse 2. In the sight of the unwise, they seemed to die, and their departure is taken for misery. All right? When a man dies, you look at him, all right, and it's taken as misery. It's a sad thing that somebody dies. And then also we have to be martyrs for this truth. That means we're going to have to die and put our lives on the line. Some of us, some of us are going to have to die for this truth, So it says, in the sight of the unwise, they seem to die. All right. So Vocab Malone making that video about, reincarnation is not true. He's unwise. All right. Ye do err not knowing the scriptures, as Yahweh Shai said. Ye do err not knowing the scriptures, man. You don't understand, who that, like that, the Pharisees, and scribes, whenever they went up to Yahweh Shai and they told him about the woman that was married 7 times, they said, in the kingdom of heaven, who is she going to belong to? All right? So Yahweh Shai straight up told them, you don't understand what you're reading. All right? Because through reincarnation, all right, and through the chosen seed line, and through the elect, that woman is going to belong to one man. All right? It's not going to belong to just one of the brothers. You know? One of the brothers in that parable, I mean. You know? We're not going to share women in the kingdom of heaven, man. One man will have many women. All right? And one woman will have one man. You know? That's why even nature itself shows it to be that way, man. That's why there's more women in the earth than there is men. You know? So it says, verse 3, and they're going from us to be utter destruction. But they are in peace, for though they be punished in the sight of men. All right? Even though we have to go through this hell, even though we have to die, you know, it says, yet is their hope full of immortality. You see? Because those that die in this truth, they're never going to die, man. You know? Their spirit is going to come back and they're going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over until Silo come. You know? That's why we have the acronym PUSH. You know, prophesy until Silo come. Or until Silo is here. You know, push. And Silo means Messiah, Yahweh Shai. All right? So back in Luke 16 and 19, there was a certain, verse 20, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, all right, which the name Lazarus just means God has helped, all right? God has helped. What was it? Allah Izar, all right? Allah Izar, which is, another name is Eleazar, all right, or Lazarus, you know? Which just means the Most High has helped. And it says, which was laid at his gate full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs that fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels unto Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. All right? So the rich man that was buried, which is who? A carnal man. All right? But a spiritual man gets what? Salvation. You know? So that's what that Luke 16 is referring to. It's not talking about a literal, you know, hell, Hades, which Hades, originally, Hades is a heathen place. You know? But then you had the Hellenization of Hebrews, all right? And it even tells you in the biblical outline and usage of that word Hades, which says later known as the pit, the grave, hell. Talking about, you know, where you bury the dead. You know? A funeral. You know? That's really all that means. Because the Hebrews were Hellenized, and later on, whenever the word Hades was used in their scriptures, all right, in their writings, it simply outlined Sheol, all right, Sha'al, which is just a grave, all right, when you bury somebody, you know, because we know that the spirit goes up to the Father. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth up, and the spirit of a beast that cometh down. All right? Animals are reincarnated too. But they come back as animals. All right? Men come back as men, women come back as women, humans come back as humans, Israelites come back as Israelites. All right? There's an order to things, man. It's not in a random place like the Hindus believe, all right, like the heathen believe, you know. So it says, verse 23, verse 22, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried to the angels into Abraham's bosom, and a rich man also died and was buried, and in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments. All right. So when this man dies, all right, when this man is destroyed via World War III, what's going to happen is that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is going to come back, destroy, all right, the heathen, and then he's going to put this man in captivity, according to Revelations chapter 13. This is Revelations 13 and verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right? Yet their faith is full of immortality. So this is something you're supposed to believe in if you're a righteous man. All right? If you're a righteous follower of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. This is one of the things you're supposed to believe in. You know? So whenever this man died was because he was buried in hell, all right, which is in Isaiah 47. Come down and sit in the, Isaiah 47 and 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne. You know? And that's talking about America. You know? Because America goes back to the owner, or the one that named America after himself, which is Americo Vespucci. All right? Americo, all right, is like amargo, you know, which means bitter. You know, as a brother would always bring out. You know? So this place is bitter, man. You see? Because this is our last captivity. You know? Our last captivity. And in this last captivity, we have to serve a bitter captivity like we did in Egypt. That's why this place is known as spiritual Egypt and spiritual Sodom. All right? So spiritually, this is Egypt all over. Which Egypt, Matazarium, means double bondage or double straight. All right? And straight just means not straight as in GT or GHT, but straight as in AIT, which means, you know, a hard condition. You know? So it says, Luke 16 and verse 24, and he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip his tongue with his finger and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. All right? How is he going to be tormented? By way of nuclear fire. You know? By way of nuclear fire, man. And we're seen as the poor, the minorities. All right? We're not the rich people of the earth. So let me get Genesis 27. It might be 37, which I think it is. Let's see here. Genesis, Salakia. It's starting to rain. I believe it was 27. Yep. This is Genesis 27 and 37, actually 39. And Isaac his father answered and said, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. All right? Because Esau Edom knew that we would be in rulership for a more permanent time. You know? Esau Edom knew that we were going to be in rulership for a permanent time, man. You know? That's why in Revelation it said the devil came down with great wrath, knowing that he has but a little time. You know? So all these prophecies are starting to come to pass, man. You know? And that's why it's so important for us to go out to the highways and byways, to make videos, you know, to study, you know. So Esau Edom was the rich man, all right, because he had the dominion over the earth. And that's who the rich man is in Luke 16, you know. And who's going to be comforted in the end? Lazarus. Let me get Deuteronomy 33 to prove that point. In verse 26, there is none like unto the God of Yasharuwan, all right, which Yasharuwan means upright one, all right? So who's the upright one? Lazarus, right? So it says, who rideth upon the heaven in thy help, and his excellency in the sky. Did the rich man not see Lazarus up in the sky being saved by Abraham, being carried by the angels? All right? That's talking about the salvation that's going to come worldwide, man. Angels are going to come down and protect us. All right? And then they're going to deliver us to the mothership or the fathership. All right? And that's where we're all going to be. Looking down from the sea of glass at the destruction that's going to happen here in Babylon. You know? So it says, the eternal God is thy refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms, and he shall thrust out the enemy from before thee, and shall say, destroy them. All right? Because just like we're fishers of men, eventually we're going to be hunters of men. Like scripture states. It says, Israel then, verse 28, Israel then shall dwell in safety alone. The fountain of Jacob, all right, talking about the offspring of Jacob, shall be upon a land of corn and wine. Also his heavens shall drop down dew. When did that happen? That hasn't happened yet. All right, that's getting ready to happen. Verse 29, happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people, saved by Yahweh, the shield of thine help, and who is the sword of thine excellency. Now, what does Lazarus mean again? Allah Izar. All right? Allah Izar, which is what? God has helped. You know? God has helped. And that's what I just read in passage in the verse 29. It says, who is like unto thee, O people, saved by Yahweh, the shield of thine help. You see? And who is the sword of thine excellency? And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. And that's why the rich man was saying, please let Lazarus come down, all right, and dip his finger in the water and put it in my tongue. All right, because there's going to be a hard bondage for these Edomites. And that's only right. You know, that's only right, man. It's only righteous. You see? So Luke 16 is not talking about reincarnation, man. It's talking about the poor men, all right, of the earth and the rich men of the earth. More specifically, Esau, Edom, and Jacob. Israel, you know? So now going back to Sirach, chapter 29 and verse 22. Better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate far in another man's house. All right? We're not supposed to be in another man's house, man. You know? And right now, Israel is trying to be Muslim. They're trying to be, Christian. They're trying to follow after everything except for what they really are. Israelites. All right? And we're not supposed to follow any heathen god. We're supposed to follow Yahweh, which is the name of the Most High, and Yahweh Shai, who is his only begotten son. You know? Those are the only deities that we ought to follow. You know? Those are the only ones. You know? So when Ezekiel 37 is talking about the stick, it's talking about, the 12 tribe chart that we bring out, man. And Job 9 and 24 is talking about Esau, Edom being in control, being in rulership. So with that, let me bring 2nd Ezra. I'm just trying to go according to the Spirit. But 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, and verse 9, verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. All right, so Esau came first, and right after Esau came Jacob. All right, and that similitude, all right, that was a similitude and a foreshadow of what is to come. When Esau sets up his great empire, Jacob is going to come right after. All right? So it says, verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. You see? So great Babylon and all these things that the Bible talks about, these kingdoms that are going to fall. All right, Babylon the Great. All right, that great whore that sitteth upon the beast. That's talking about here, man. Babylon the Great. And we can see things going down here in America, man. And it's only going to get worse. All right? The RFID chip still has to be implemented. Martial law. The persecution of the saints. All right? All these things are just going to get worse, man. Worse and worse. All right? But in that time, like scriptures say, all right, in the time of adversity, our people are going to be willing. More willing. All right? They're going to need answers. And finally, the Most High is going to allow what we speak. Lord willing, I'm part of that number. But what the righteous men speak is going to click in their minds. And they're finally going to realize what the truth was. And who the truth is. Who Yahweh is. Who Yahweh Shai is. We're sent visions to see these things to come. So let me finish off here. Actually, let me get Daniel's chapter 12 to prove that the angels are going to fight for Israel. Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. And what is that book? Revelations 20, the book of life. If you're not found written, if your name is not written in that book of life, you will not be saved. All right? You will not be saved, man. You're going to see destruction on this side. All right? It says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. which brings me back to Ezekiel 37. Salakia. Ezekiel, a couple of chapters. 37. And then I'll come back and reread that part. Ezekiel 37 and verse 18. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Talking about the 12th tribe chart. Say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and I will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. The sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. All right? And that's why we carry this, man. This is the stick that we write on and we carry in our hands, man. You know? Meaning it's in our possession. It says, and the stick whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand and before their eyes. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and I will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. All right, so in Luke 16, whenever Lazarus was picked up by the angels and taken up, that's talking about a worldwide deliverance. All right, the Israelites will be delivered. They are Lazarus. They are who the Most High will help. God helps. That's what Lazarus means, right? And like I read in Deuteronomy 33, the Most High is going to help Israel. So it says, so it says verse 22, it says, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king of them all, which is Yahweh Shai, and there shall be no more two nations. All right, two nations. It says, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of their dwelling places, whether they have sinned, and I will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. All right? So this deliverance is talking about Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, delivering and saving Yashar Allah, Israel. All right? So going back to Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting content. All right, and that's talking about the Israelites that wake up. All right, some of us are going to wake up to this truth when it's early. Some of us are going to wake up too late and realize that you effed up. You know, that's why it's an important thing to search after the heart of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai while it's early. Verse 3, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. All right, and when Yahweh Shai broke the seals, all right, that was giving us the ability to read what was sealed up, man. And that's how we're able to break down these scriptures now. All right, by the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You know? So that's how we know of the things that are coming. That's how we know who we are. That's how we know who our enemy is. You know? That's how we know there's going to be a time of trouble coming. And what we've seen so far is nothing. All right? Like I said, it's going to get a whole lot worse, man. You know? So I hope that was edifying. And with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to our brothers out there. I say shalom.